So the Mets are sitting pretty right now with the best record in the National League, but there are two huge pieces missing to this roster. Now, back during spring training, Jacob deGrom, the best pitcher in baseball, he suffered a stress reaction of his right scapula in his shoulder. And overall, during that progression, it's been pretty much good news. Now, he has not thrown a pitch in a meaningful game since July of last year. And that's when we fast forward to present day. SNY reported that Jacob deGrom is potentially nearing a rehab assignment, having recently throwing multiple bullpen sessions with live batting practice expected soon against him. And then you have Max Scherzer. He suffered an oblique strain about a month ago on the mound during a game, and he was expected to miss about 6 to 8 weeks. Now, last week, Scherzer did begin throwing bullpen sessions, and yesterday he did go on to explain that he's back to 90%, but the real challenge now comes in the last 10% of rehab. He expects to throw a simulated game sometime in the near future. So you have Jake, multiple injuries in the past year. They're obviously taking it slow as they should. And then Max, he's Mad Max, but he's 37 years old. You still need to be careful with this. What is a realistic timetable for our 1-2 punch, Jake and Max, to return to the mound?
I think obviously the first guy will be Max. 2.5, maybe 3 weeks. So you're looking at beginning of July at the latest. The funniest thing, I just wanted to make sure if I was correct, and I am. The Palm Beach Cardinals are shaking right now because the Mets, St. Lucie Mets do play Tampa, but then all of next week they go to Palm Beach. Say, you know what? Hi, here's Max Scherzer too. Him going out to rehab, that's why I did put out that big graphic that, again, he's going to probably go out to rehab next week pretty damn well. Again, the Palm, maybe they want to start him in St. Lucie, have him throw a bullpen, maybe throw a nice heavy bullpen session with some up downs, because I think I saw with deGrom's sake that he threw a bullpen, but he didn't throw a bullpen with an up down, and that's probably the next step. But again, with Jake, I think it's just wait and see. I think mid-July, end of July, maybe the latest being early August for Jake. Be careful with Jake, but he is going to opt out, test the free agent market, and I think he wants to be the best version of himself for the next 2 months, 2.5 months, hopefully 3 months if they do the thing in October. Max, I think, is more of he just wants to throw, and he'll throw as fast as he possibly can. He will do whatever it takes to get on the mound because he's a psychopath. I still think Jake's about a month, maybe a month in a week. If you give me a target date, I'd say maybe a little bit before the deadline with Jake. Max, I think Max is back before the All-Star break.
As our rotation stands right now, Tyler McGill is there, Chris Bassett is there, Carlos Carrasco, Taijuan Walker, David Peterson has done some spot starts. Right now, we've been able to get by with this pitching. It's really helped us, stay in first place, help us win a majority of ball games. But when you look at Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer, two of the greatest pitchers of all time, and will go down as, possible Hall of Famers, both of them, that makes you think that maybe this team can literally rise to another level. And if our offense is as potent as it has been so far, it is top 5 in basically every category right now, this team is going to go very far when you have Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer, who can potentially put up zeros, 6 to 7 innings when they're fully healthy. I think what people are noticing is that this team alone right now, what we have is a playoff contender. It is a team that can make a deep playoff run. When you add Jacob deGrom and when you had Max Scherzer, I think this is a World Series contender. That's the difference maker. Now, I'm not going to hop on the bandwagon of these guys are those trade deadline acquisitions. I still think that they need to obviously add some stuff to the bullpen, maybe and add an extra bat. I know Andrew loves that comment and loves that analysis. Yeah,
because using that term last year, we're going to get Jake back with the deadline, and we got Trevor Williams and Javi, and that worked out great. If anyone actually still believes in that, they've never touched a woman, because that is the most brain-dead thing I think I've heard any. Do you think the Dodgers just stand pat? Look at the Dodgers last year. Oh, they were going to get Kershaw back. Buehler, I think, was injured at the time. But did the Dodgers say, you know what, those guys are trade deadline acquisitions? No, they go out and get Trey Turner and a la Max Scherzer. It's like a trade deadline, then you might be dumber than James McCann behind the plate.
So now you look at Jacob deGrom right now and his timeline. They've never really set a timetable for his return. Now, if you have to make a guess, obviously, I'd say, mid to late July at the earliest. The first week of August would be at the latest, if all goes well and everything is progressive. This guy is obviously going to have to do a full-on spring training because he got cut in the middle of it. He's going to probably have to do 3, 4, 5 rehab starts. I think they're going to start with 2 to 3 innings in those first ones and then try to get him stretched out. And then we'll see what goes on and see if he can throw off a major league mound. All I know is that if he's 100% healthy, he's going to dominate because he's Jacob deGrom and that's what he does. All I can say is that the only guy that I trust in this process is Jacob deGrom. I mean, we've talked about the medical staff before. Last year, we used 64 players. And the most injured guy that went on to the IL was Jacob deGrom. He suffered so many injuries throughout the entire year, and then he didn't even pitch for the second half. I do not trust anybody in this medical staff, especially with Jacob deGrom's health. That's just the number one thing. They have lost so much of my trust after that entire debacle where Sandy Alderson said that it was a bruise, or they said it was a tear, or they said something magically healed in his arm. UCL tears don't just heal by themselves. So unless Jacob deGrom is the second coming of Jesus, I don't think that was possible, right? And then they had that whole thing with the MRI machine of him holding his arm the wrong way and how they screwed all of that up. The only guy that I trust here is Jacob deGrom. That's the only guy I trust with his health. If he is good to go, he is good to go.
His elbow or shoulder, arm, at this point, I think you should just cut his arm off and Darth Vader his ass and give him a robot arm so you can stop dealing with these injuries and just give him a robot hand.
Is that actually possible? Can you do that?
I mean, I guess you probably could get a prosthetic Vader arm. I guess anything's possible in today's generation.
Would that screw up his grip, like on the baseball?
Well, I mean, think about it. He wouldn't need any grip because they'd be robot. He would just put the ball perfectly. And no move.
He's going to need some device to spin on the palm or something for the spin rate, right?
Could. You can give him little. Again, what are we talking about here? Good. Yeah, with Jake, you trust him. He knows better. And the impending free agency, even though I don't think it's that big of an issue, we expect the Mets to re-up him, give him the Scherzer-type contract, a 3-year, $45 million AAV or whatever, maybe 50. With Jake, you just want to be cautious, but yet you want to be able to trust once he's back. We're not going to have he's coming out of the game in the third inning. He has a little shoulder tightness. So you do want him, if it takes a little longer for an extended spring training, like you said. So let's say he goes 2 innings in Palm Beach, and then he'll go another maybe 2, maybe give him a third inning of work. All-Star break, you're expecting is third start, maybe he goes to 4 to 5 innings. And then you're looking after the All-Star break at fourth start, where hopefully maybe you start getting 6 innings, 85 plus pitches, and then you're at the deadline. So then you're not going to get him back to, at the deadline, and there's another trade acquisition. Especially if Max is back and Max is Max Scherzer. And I think Chris Bassett, peripheral still look the same. But Bassett hasn't been the same since Max's went down because I think he's trying to take more of the ace role. If Max is back in being Max, I know it takes a lot of pressure off Bassett, then maybe Bassett goes back to being what he was before Max went down. And then let's say, the numbers get maybe a little more batted ball luck goes his way because he doesn't have the pressure of, hey, I have to be the ace. He's going back to that number 2 role. And then once Jake speaks back to being what he was supposed to be in the number 3 spot, Max is more important for right now because we've seen him pitch already this year. And obviously Jake is the best pitcher. And obviously he is extremely important. But I think a healthy Jake, if you're telling me would I rather have Jake earlier, 85% with Scherzer, or do I trust him going, full end of June, most of July to get ready for August and September? And I think another thing that I don't think a lot of people are understanding talking about Scherzer, and you're going to have him, let's say, back by the All-Star break for 2 months, not a lot of innings on his arm this year. And if he stays healthy and let him go, imagine what he can look like. Kind of like in 2019. I think didn't he get injured in 19 when the Nationals won the World Series?
He did get injured. Yeah.
He missed an extended time, and then look what he was. He couldn't lift his arm at Game 5, and then comes back at Game 7.
Absolute psychopath. Nuts.
He couldn't lift his arm 3 days before Game 7. He's like, gets scratched in Game 5. Then in Game 7, he goes out and pitches as much as he possibly can, and then obviously they win that game. But I think the more important is just getting Scherzer back as fast as possible.
Max just shoves. That's what he's just known for doing. And that's the thing, that he is so resilient. He is just fueled on adrenaline. That's literally what he succeeds on. And I really love that type of guy. Even though it does make me nervous, he is 37 years old. He's getting older. He's had a majority of his injuries in his late 30s. It's common that it can happen, but I'm never really nervous until it actually happens. I'm never like, oh, well, he's throwing violently, but you know what? Who cares? He's Max Scherzer, right? He just shows that mentality to the rest of the rotation and to the entire team. There just has been that type of piece missing. Even though the team is still winning, it's just been, a little bit more grinding out these wins. It takes a lot of pressure off of these guys who are currently pitching in this rotation.
Scherzer, I just think, is one of those guys who just is like, give me the ball and get the hell out of my way. And I just think he wants to be in the game. And you've seen anytime a coach is trying to take him out of games, he's dropping F-bombs, go sit down, get the hell out of my way. This is my, get out of here. I'm not done yet. That's just how he is. And then maybe he's a psychopath that just wants to pitch. All he wants to do is throw, and I think that's what he wants. And hey, it makes him better because, again, we have the point of when he misses time, you see a different version of him in the second half. But I think just letting him pitch, and I don't think he needs to be coddled as much as Jake. I think you just let him go and let him be the psycho that he is. It's just we're talking about a different human being. Again, he might genuinely be an alien. He's got 2 different color eyes. How many people do you know who have 2 different colored eyes? That's a rarity. He might be an alien.
Listen, I will tell you why I have my concerns. Because of the uniform that he puts on every day. That's why. You automatically become a very fragile piece of shit on the Mets. That's the reason why I'm concerned.
And when those guys are ready, nobody's stopping us. Nobody's got anything. Bring on the Yankees, overrated rotation. We'll clap them. We've already clapped the Dodgers without them, without those 2 guns. There ain't nobody on our level if those guys are back and healthy. Everyone is beneath us.
Are you saying that the NL East is over, Sal?
Oh, yeah, no. Yes, because we have the greatest rotation in baseball, and we have Pete Alonso, who's a generational power hitter. So we're winning everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, it looks like you've been drinking a little too much.